Okay, so good day guys. So welcome sa ACP 411 and we will discuss the big picture in focus ULOC, apply MS Excel functions and commands in auditing inventory transactions and balances. So we are done with sales audit and receivable audit. The next part is the inventory audit. So it is an examination of inventory transactions and account balances. So the auditor must pay more attention to clients' inventory, particularly on the management assertions such as syempre existence of the inventory at year-end, the ownership of inventory specifically if it is in transit, and the valuation of inventory to lower of cost and NRV. So we will discuss inventory audit using MS Excel first. So inventory is one of significant items of company's financial statement. Why? It's because since misstatement of inventory can affect both asset and net income. Kasi nga, inventory is part of the current asset. So any misstatement, it may be over or understated inventory, it would cause over and understatement of the asset. And same with the net income. So since the inventory is part of computation of cost of goods sold, and later on, it would compute the net income. So therefore, that's why inventory can affect both asset and net income. So the auditor must have pay more attention to client's inventory, particularly on the management assertions, such as existence of the inventory, the ownership of the inventory, and the valuation of the said inventory. Alright, so let's start with inventory audit, accuracy check. So the objective of this procedure is to ensure that the inventory amount per item is correctly computed based on the inventory cost listing. Okay, so open file, LA2, easy inventory, Excel. Then remember that this was your let's analyze assessment in week, this is 3 to 4, ULOA, and already data scrub. So assuming this was already data scrub na, the easy inventory Excel. So ito yung result of the data scrubbing. Okay. So let's take a look at the sample. This one. So before, this is, yun nga, before the data scrubbing. So ito yung format or yung presentation. After data scrubbing, ito na yung output for the stock card copy. This one. So what you're going to do, in cell J1, enter cost per price list. So this one dito. Okay. So here, enter cost per price list. Ayan. So, let's put it yellow, no? Ayan, ito dalawa. Yellow na pala ito dapat. And, let's make this in wrap text so that all of the content will be shown for the cell. And then, in cell J2, enter the average cost per item. So, based on the inventory master file, using, syempre, VLOOKUP function. And copy the formula to the remaining cells below. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the costs as mentioned in the price list or inventory list of the company. So dito. No? So kung ano yung item code, or based on the item code, magkano yung cost of that particular item. So let's make use of the VLOOKUP. So equals VLOOKUP. So the lookup value here is the item code. Ayan. Then, comma, the table is the inventory list. This one. Ayan. So, the entire table. Comma ulit. And then, the column index number is the location or the number or the column or yung place ng column of cost. So, ilang column ba yung cost? So, first column is for item code. Second one is the description. The third one is the cost. So, that's why we use 3. Third column. Comma, the range lookup, syempre, it must be an exact match. So, that's why we use false. Then, close. So again, here's the formula. And this was already presented to you in your CMAR module. So we look up A2 for the lookup value, inventory lists from A2 to D31 for the table array, and column index numbers, the location of the cost, and then false for the range lookup. And don't forget, since merong table, make this in absolute reference. So to make this in absolute reference, just press F4. No? F4. And then enter. Then copy the formula to the remaining cells below. So double click this one, the edge, and it will copy the formula. Okay, so next one, 1.4, in cell K1, enter the cost comparison. So K1, here, ito. So this is cost comparison. Okay. So cost comparison, we are to compare the cost as mentioned here in the book versus cost per price list. So compare by using exact function. So equals exact. And then average cost, comma, and then the cost per price list. And then closed. Ayan. So true. And copy the formula down to the remaining cells. Ayan. So apply filter in column K. So let's apply filter here in column K. So how to apply filter? It may use the home or the data tab. So let's use the data tab para bago. Ayan. And then click the filter and then balik ulit, click again the filter. Ayan. So check if there are filter false return value. So false means that the cost per stock art is not the same as the cost per price list. So in this case, there were audit issued in the cost per item. So if there are no issued or none, proceed to next item. So let's check down. Meron bang false for the cost comparison? So check or click the drop down arrow. And then as you can see sa drop down list, wala pong false. So just click OK. And don't forget to color this one yellow. Ayan. Next one, 1.8, in cell L1, enter total per audit. So dito. Ayan. So this is the total per audit. Okay. So total per audit is you multiply the quantity to the cost per price list and copy the formula to the remaining cells below. So multiply the quantity, ayan, and the cost per price list. So G2 multiplied by J2. And then press enter. And then copy the formula to the remaining cells below. So double click lang yung edge. And syempre, don't forget to make this in or with comma styles. So just click home tab and then click the comma style. Yan. Para may comma siya and decimal. Okay, so we're done. By the way, don't forget to color this one. Ayan. Signify audit procedure. So what you're going to do next, save the work or save your work. Ayan. So we're done with the first one. Next is inventory audit SLGL reconciliation. So the objective is this to ensure that the balance of general ledger is the same from its source, which is the subsidiary ledger. So meron silang reconciliation. So same workbook as previous, select GL worksheet and clean the data to remove unnecessary rows and columns. So this is the GL worksheet before data scrubbing. And after data scrubbing, ito na po yung proforma ni GL copy. And then, after the data is placed, create a copy of inventory list worksheet. So, asan yung inventory list? Ayan. Ito. And what you're going to do, create a copy for this one. So, right-click and then move or copy. And then, inventory list. just check the box for create a copy and click OK. And next one, rename the copy worksheet to reconciliation. So double click this one and rename this as reconciliation. Ayan. Next, 1.5, delete column C and column D. So delete the cost and the price. So you do have here the list of inventories ng company. And then add column header as shown below. So you do have here sa C, balance per SL. Sa D naman, balance per GL. And E for the variance. So, first one, balance per SL. And then, ayan. Second one is balance per GL. And the last one is the variance. Okay. So, double click para makita yung and then, get the total of each item from its source using sum if function. So, to get the balance per SL, enter the following sum if functions. You do have here the arguments, the range, the criteria, and the sum range. So, the range is the code column of the stock card worksheet, and the criteria is the item code. Ayan. Column of the reconciliation worksheet, and the sum range is the total per audit column of the stock card SL worksheet. So, ayan. So, let's use equals sum if. So, the range here is the stock cards. This is stock card man ito, no? Balance per SL. So, yun yung stock card copy. And then, from the item code to the total per audit. So, from A to L. So, copy the entire table, or highlight the entire table. Then, comma, the criteria is, balik po tayo sa reconciliation. The criteria is based on the item code. And then, comma ulit, the range, the sum range is yung dito sa my stock card or SL copy, which is the total per audit. So, highlight this one. So, from L2 to L434. And then, close. Then, enter. So, you do have here the balance per SL. And before you are to copy this one to the remaining cells below, just make sure that all of the tables are in absolute reference. Okay? Kasi naka-fix yung table. Absolute reference siya para hindi siya mag-move. And might as well with this one. So, yung mga naka-range. And then, you can now copy this one to the remaining cells below. Double-click the edge. And don't forget to make this in commas tayo. Okay, so we're done with the balance per SL. The next one is the balance per GL. Ayan. So, to get the balance per GL, enter the following value in sum if function. So, the range is the code column of the GL. So, GL na po tayo worksheet. Criteria is still the same, no? The item code. The sum range is the amount column of the GL worksheet. So, here, don't forget pala na to make this or fill this in color. Ayan. Then, balance per GL is equals to sum if the range is the GL copy, starting with the A2 to F434. And then, comma, the criteria is the reconciliation, the item code. Comma ulit, the sum range is the GL copy, which is the amount, this one. Hindi yung balance, yung amount. So, from E2 to E434. And then, close. So, once again, here's the formula. So, sum if GL copy range from A2 to F434, which is the range. Ayan. The criteria is the item code, so reconciliation A2. And the sum range is the total, yung amount. Ayan. So, GL copy, E2 to E434. And don't forget, pag naka-range siya, make this in absolute reference kasi table yan siya. So, table. So, therefore, dapat naka-absolute reference. And, you can now copy the formula to the remaining cells below. So, double-click the edge. And don't forget to make this in comma style. And, syempre, the color. Ayan. So, the next one, compute for the variance by getting the difference of balance per SL at saka per GL. So, difference ng, so equals C to which the balance per SL minus the balance per GL na D2. Ayan. So, press enter. So, yung first one, meron pala siyang variance. And copy the formula to the remaining cells below. So, double-click this one. So, ayan. And then, what's next? Sum up everything at the bottom of the reconciliation. So, sum up pala, no? Ayan. Dito. So, here is the total. So, total, let's make use of the sum function. So, equals sum. So, entirely from this one to this one. And might as well with this one. So, copy nyo lang yung formula. Control C. And syempre, make this or put a border na to signify yung total. Okay. So, don't forget to put a color na dito sa variance to signify all the procedure. And what's next? Use filter to summarize your findings. And in the variance column, click filter. So, put a filter here in the variance. So, saan yung filter? You can use the data and then filter. So, check for the findings. So, yung findings yung may laman. Except for the zero or yung dash. So, what you're going to do, click the drop-down arrow and then look for or uncheck the zero or the dash. So, yung findings is yung merong difference. So, just click OK. Ayan. So, copy the table, then create a new worksheet and paste your findings and rename the new worksheet to findings number 5. So, gagawa tayo ng another sheet before that one. Let's copy muna this one. So, copy. Let's start with Control A to highlight and Control C to copy. And then, here in the next sheet, worksheet, ayan, paste this one. And lagyan natin ng space para makahinga. Ayan. Okay. Na iba na sana. So, dapat pala pag-copy natin, it should be in values. So, balik natin. So, paste this one, make this in values. So, hindi naman yata dito na formatting. Ayan. Okay. So, here is now the findings, no? And this is findings, wait. Ayan. So, this is findings number 5. Ayan. So, meron na tayo findings number 5. Okay. So, we're done. Save your work. And, that's all. Thank you po for your time and effort for listening. Goodbye and God bless.